the Apocrypha would be one of them. The Apocrypha is a collection of books that are still in the Catholic Bible. They're in the Orthodox Bible, and we also find these in the Ethiopian Bible. But the Ethiopian Bible even has more than that, in that the Ethiopian Bible is made up of 88 books. So 22 more books than we have. And the Ethiopian Bible is very interesting in the fact that they've done a good job of preserving their writings, and many of them are over 1,000 years old, so which is pretty interesting. And they happen to have the Book of Enoch as part of their Bible as well. So the question comes to us is like, well, where did the Apocrypha come from, and why did it get removed? That's what we want to begin to research and ask. And so this is how the Apocrypha even got into our Bible to begin with. Has anyone ever heard of or familiar with what's called the Septuagint? No? Okay. So that's good, because we're unpacking this, so you'll know this. So there's a writing out there that's referenced as the Septuagint. And what the Septuagint is simply put, is the Greek translation of the Hebrew writings. Okay, so what happened was, at about 200 to 300 BC, and Rome is ruling the world at this point in time, the Greek would have been the common language across the world, even though they would have still had their original languages or dialect. And so what Rome decided they wanted to do is they wanted to create a translation of the Hebrew Bible, or the Hebrew Scriptures. They wanted to provide that to the whole world. So they began this process of translating the Hebrew writings into Greek. And how they did this is they collected 70 scribes, and that's what Septuagint means, is 70. Whether it's Greek or Latin, I don't know, but that's what Septuagint means, is 70. So they collected 70 scribes to do this task of translating the text from Hebrew to Greek. Now, it wasn't like each one of these people doing this worked on one individual text and someone worked on another. No, they all worked on the whole thing individually. And once they were done and completed, then they compared it to the other ones. And they had to be an exact, perfect match in translation. There couldn't be any differences. If there was a difference between what this guy translated and this guy translated, then it was a throwaway. It wasn't will you change yours, I change. No, it was a throwaway, start over. So this is what makes the Septuagint so great, is that there is this huge level of accountability on this text that's put together and the accuracy of the translation. And so what this has done is this has allowed the Hebrew teachings of God to be able to be spread throughout the whole world at that time. And we know that Paul would reference these kind of things when he's sending these letters to these different areas in the world. He knew that they had access to the Septuagint so that they could reference some of the Old Testament stuff that he's referencing. Okay, now I bring this up because this is how the Apocrypha got into the Bible. And when they were doing this translation in the Septuagint, these Apocrypha writings were inserted or done as part of that. However, the Hebrew people never recognized that to be part of their writings of God, if you will. So this is what happens. So it gets into the Septuagint. Well, then as the Christian church is developing and they decide that they want to collect their writings that's going to make up our Bible, they went to the Septuagint, and this is where they drew the text from, and this is where the Apocrypha came from and how it got put into the Bible. Okay? Now, how did it get removed? All right, so there's the Protestant movement that rises up. Martin Luther spins off of the Catholic Church. Why? Because he's reading his Bible. He understands that there's some things that the Catholic Church is doing that's not right. And so he spins off and starts the Protestant movement, meaning protest. He's protesting the Catholic Church. So he then makes a new collection to make up the Bible, in essence removing the Apocrypha. Okay, now when we talk about the Apocrypha, is this something that I would say don't read? if you've got a handle on the 66 and you want to read the Apocrypha, it's not going to hurt you. Okay? It's interesting. It offers some history, some other things. But remember, it's not the Word of God, so it's not like you can stand on it as truth. So that's what you just need to know and you need to understand that. So that covers the Apocrypha. Now,